Hello everyone, I'm Charlie Dawn and welcome to my library. Today's video is the anti-TBR tag, so it's the books that you will never read or like don't want to read. I really like watching these, but I also feel a bit like mean doing it, but I mean we all have our own opinions. Not every book is written for everybody. Books are specifically written for like target groups, right? And what if I'm just not that group? There are 8 questions, so the first one is a popular book that everybody loves that you have no interest in. And there were a few. There are a few that I always see on like BookTube and I skip past them because I'm like, oh, I don't want to listen. And I think the one that came up in my mind most of all is, I've forgotten the name of it. It's Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I have read it. I don't know if that counts as the question, like you're not supposed to have read it. I have read it, but I didn't like it. And like the whole series, I'm like, please stop talking about this series. I really disliked it. And it's set in a boarding school, which I love. I just found it to be not very interesting, and all the information was like just given to them. I felt like they didn't sleuth around for anything. And I really hated that there was like a weird character. Like she was just weird for the sake of being weird. The only thing I really remember about her is that she like played the saxophone in the bath. And I just remember rolling my eyes and being like, oh wow, a weird girl. And she wore like random clothes. I just hate that trope in books where it's like, oh, and she wore like leggings over the top of her joggers and she wore her bra back to front. Kooky. The second one is a classic book that you have no interest in reading, and probably something like Dracula. I'll never read Dracula. That's a classic, right? Dracula, to be honest, I don't really have any interest in classics like Pride and Prejudice, not bothered. I might read Emma, but like I don't think I like the language. After reading Wuthering Heights in school, scarred. I don't care about classics. Blasphemy, I know, but sorry, oldies. The third one has like 2 parts to it, but they said you could answer both of them if it's the same answer, which it is. So the first one was an author you have no interest in reading, and then it was a problematic author. So I can kind of go hand in hand with these ones. The Harry Potter series I have no interest in reading. Even before it came out that she was a problematic person. I've never really been interested in Harry Potter. Not the films, not the books. And I know that is really like unusual. And I feel sometimes like people might think I'm trying to be like cool and quirky by being like, oh, I don't like this really like mainstream thing, and it isn't. I just didn't pick it up as a kid. I think the films were a bit too scary for me growing up. I'm the biggest like wuss you'll ever meet in your life. Also, there's a part in one of the films, I have seen them, I think I've seen all of them, but I'm not bothered, where Voldemort and Harry are doing some sort of duel. Those were their wands there. Some editing has gone astray somewhere, don't know whose fault that was, where it's like Voldemort's like, you know, his face is in the screen and then it's Harry and then it's him, back and forth like that. And there's just this tiny, oh, I have a little lip gloss here, I can use this as my wand. There's a tiny bit where Voldemort does this. Ta! And why? It's obviously like the end of a word or something, and they've like cut it off and like forgotten to edit it out. So if anyone else has ever noticed that, I don't know what film it was, or don't ask me, but yeah, so I've never read the Harry Potter series, never will, and she's problematic. 2 birds with 1 stone. Number 4 is an author who you've read a couple of their books, but they're just not for you. Do you know, I don't know if I have one. Question 4, I know what it is now. It's Marissa Meyer. No, I can't deal. I can't deal. I tried to get through I don't even know what it was called. Heartless. Was it Cassandra Clare? I'll have to bloody check, 1 minute. Wow. So for question 4, the author that I've read a few of her books now and it's not for me is Marissa Meyer. So she wrote Heartless, which is the Alice in Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts retelling. I thought that would be so for me. I love Alice in Wonderland. I love everything to do with Alice in Wonderland. I have a whole shelf dedicated just to her. My nonna even knitted me some Alice in Wonderland figurines. I didn't like it. I didn't like that it was sort of written, I don't know, was it a bit childlike? I don't like that style of writing where it's like, oh, gosh. Do you know what I mean? Probably not. And then she wrote the Lunar Chronicles. The Lunar Chronicles. I kept calling it like Moon River, Moon Landing. The Lunar Chronicles. Let's also hope that she did write those, otherwise I'm just slamming her for somebody else's like mistakes. Number 5 is a genre you have absolutely no interest in. Horror. Horror, anything scary, supernatural, no. At like a push I could read like a bit of a ghosty one if there's like not so many ghosts in it. But I don't want to hear about any sort of horrible things. I don't think I've ever read a horror book because I know I won't enjoy it. I get scared. It's the littlest thing and it stays in my mind for a long time. I remember when I was like a kid or like a teenager, I'd read before bed, and if there was the slightest bit that was scary, I'd be like, oh well, not sleeping tonight, or I'd have nightmares for weeks. I remember there was a book I read, I don't know what it was called, but I remember that these 2 teenagers get kidnapped by this woman, and the way they describe it is, it's not even scary. Like they're in a car, I think their mum's like popped into the shop or something, and this woman they describe it as she has a really wide face, like a really, I mean like this, really wide face, just kind of like pops her head like up to the window and she's like smiling at them all creepily, and I couldn't get that out of my head for months. Wasn't even scary, it's just like the idea of this woman being like, I can't get off screen, being like, freaked me out so much. So no to horror, always. I'll never ever read a horror book. One of my friends at her school, so different school to mine, she had to read The Woman in Black for her GCSEs. I think I would have had to move school. I think I would have had to like have a doctor's note say, sorry, she can't, she's too scared. And then they had to go and see it at the theatre to write about it. No, honey, no, no. A book you've bought that you'll never read. I don't think I can say I'll never read it, but like the thought of reading it doesn't give me any sort of joy, and I don't even know what it's called. A Winter's Promise by Christelle I think it's Debo. I think she's French. I even started to annotate it because I thought at the time I was going to start doing that kind of stuff, and I was wrong. Too much stress, like it's too difficult annotating. You got to be like, read, oh, let me get out my... No, it's not for me. What did I annotate anyway? Nothing of it, nothing of note. What I think it was, it's translated from French, I think, and I think it was just, it's so wordy. I was like a bit taken aback by it all, and it's really big, and there's quite a few of them, I think. I say I probably will never read it, only because it's daunting. I should read it. I want to read it, but I don't know if I ever will. So it's not on here because I hate it, it's on here because I will need to like dedicate a month just to this, because I'll need to really focus. The more I talk about it, the more I like want to read it again. I'll let you know. Question 7, what is a series that you have no interest in reading, or a series that you have sort of read and DNF'd? And it's The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. Not a fan. I read Cinder basically by force. I was forced to read it because I thought, wow, fairy tale retellings? Wow. Got halfway through and I thought, this is terrible. I hate it. And then I tried to send it back on Audible and they were like, cool, here's your credit back. But then they didn't take it away from me. And I can't resist a free thing. So I read it for free, the rest of it. And I was like this the whole time. Why am I doing this? Didn't enjoy it, thought it was boring as hell. And can I just say, nobody in the world cared about Peony. Poor little Freckle, nobody cared about her. And like, why were they cyborgs? And why was that a bad thing? I started to read the next one because I thought, give it a chance. No. DNF. Rubbish. I shouldn't say rubbish. I didn't enjoy it. Number 8 is a new release you have no interest in reading. I'm not ever so, like, in the know of new releases. Probably could have researched it before the video, couldn't I? So I just had to go on Goodreads and look at some new releases because I didn't know any. And the first one that came up was A Court of Silver Flames, and that's the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, ongoing. I couldn't care less about those. I just think all of those ones, so I kind of class these in the same genre. Maybe not genre, but in my head they're all the same. So like A Court of Thorn and Roses, the Holly Black one, the one that's like the fairies one, and then like Chain of Gold, those kind of ones. Never gonna read them. They're so not for me. So any of those that come out, I will not bat an eyelid. But I know that people love them so much. Is it one of those things where it's like it came out when you were a teenager and now you're just obsessed because it's like a childhood thing? Because I understand that. I've read some terrible books just because they came out when I was younger and I want to reread them. So for example, where are they? Hello? Oh, these books here, they are books that came out when I was younger and I just reread them and they're awful, but I love them. So that was the anti-TBR tag. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a little thumbs up. And if you want to see more from this channel, give it a subscribe and comment if you disliked any of those books or do your own and let me know. I think this is like a weird angle now. Oh, I'm at a strange angle now. But thank you for watching and I'll see you next time in my library. And what do I say? I'll see you next. Oops.